Julie, I am so freaking excited that we are sitting here face to face on camera about to get into the raw and the real. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Holly. I'm so excited to be with you as well.
I am so excited to have you. And let me just start off by saying you were like one of the very first people that I met online. So our friendship and watching you just do these incredible things has just been such an inspiration to me. And I'm just so excited that we've kept in contact and I get to see that.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. I felt the same way about you actually when we first met. I think I had been in business at that point about a year, maybe a year and a half, if I remember correctly. So it was refreshing seeing somebody like you explode onto the scene and just with so much fresh vitality and enthusiasm, and you knew exactly what you were going for. And that was something that I didn't see everywhere. So I really appreciated that about you.
Oh, well, it's been almost a year. I started in February. So that is like happy friend anniversary. So tell everyone, because obviously we can small talk all day. Tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, my name's Julie Cabezas. I'm the co-founder of the Ideal Marketing Agency and Social Brand School. And we are a marketing agency designed really for the entrepreneur, the startup person that is new to social media marketing. Most of our customers and clients have been in business less than 2 years, and they're really looking to get started, building an online presence for themselves. So in the last year or so, we've really focused on Instagram marketing. That's been our joy, our passion. And we found that it's a really effective funnel, especially for people that are just starting out. So we have an online school called Social Brand School and an agency where we take on clients selectively.
Love, 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 love. And you were one of the inspirations behind really pushing me to up my Instagram game. So thank you for that.
You are killing
it. Thank you. I'm trying. Like yours is like beautifully perfect and mine is like a wannabe, but I'll get there. It's like, I'm looking at like you who has been doing this for a long time. And then I'm like, okay. And I feel like that's a lot of how we can relate into the entrepreneurship world. It's like you're looking at somebody out there that you look up to and they've been like doing this and they've been doing it for a long time. And then here you are, the newbie, and you're like, I'm not good enough. I don't look like hers, but you just have to take a step back and appreciate the journey and be like, I'll get there. My Instagram is going to be awesome.
That's a perfect transition.
Exactly. And that's exactly what the Sparkly Truth Project is about, is just like showing you that wherever you are is perfectly okay, that you don't have to be the social brand school of Instagram. You could start off exactly where you are and get there and learn and grow.
Yeah, totally. I think that's honestly one of my challenges in even still to today is I have that dangerous mixture of perfectionist with really high levels of ambition and focus and drive. And also we're all the hardest on ourselves, right? I mean, we're all our biggest critics, our biggest, doubters. And I think my biggest challenge in business is having come from being a straight A student when I was younger, and you could just study. You could study the book and all the information was right there. All you had to do was study and you would get a perfect score. And in entrepreneurship, there's no perfect score. So I created a perfect score, which is who's the best person in the industry. I would make that the A, and then I would, try to achieve that in like 0 seconds, So then you get into this pattern of, obviously I'm not advanced enough. I don't know enough. Someone has, more expertise than me. And that's a never ending cycle, because who's the most, experienced person on the planet with what you do? There will always be someone who has a little more experience than you do. So that's definitely not the measure of success. And it's not a very productive mindset. So I've learned to really try to fence that in and look at things from a different perspective.
And that is so beautiful, because a lot of women out there are just going and going, and they have that comparisonitis, and they're like, but this person did this. And I had a goal to have a 5-figure launch or a 6-figure launch, and I only did this, but this person did it, so I can. And there's so many people online just selling this dream. And you've had successful launches. And I know that from being, we're girlfriends, but it always hasn't been this like instant success.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been starting businesses since I would say my first business was when I was a Mary Kay consultant when I turned 18. Like the minute I turned 18, I opened my own Mary Kay consultancy and loved it. But ever since then, I mean, it's just been business after business, most of them with very little to show for all the effort. So while people think, maybe they've seen something that I've done and they might think it's really professional or something. I mean, you're seeing 10 years of work.
Exactly. 10 years of money invested, work invested, lots of hard lessons and learned and failures and mistakes and, things that have happened in your life that have deterred you. And it's just, there's no instant easy button imperfection. And you and I relate because we're both moms. So we're both, juggling it with our kids, and you have a daughter who's like the cutest thing. And I love, like, I'll catch like a video of hers once in a while. So you were also a young mom. You had her when you were 22.
Right.
And a lot of times people online be like, okay, I'm 22, 23, whatever years old. I have a kid. I can't live my dream, right? Like I just have to like get something safe and do something safe for my little baby now. And it's that mom guilt, and it's that always putting us second. So I know this is like so good because so many people out there are like, yep, mom guilt, like right here. I always put myself on the back burner.
Right.
So like, how did you finally just decide to go for it?
Yeah. Well, I've definitely experienced plenty of mom guilt in my life. When I first had Layla, I had a full-time job, and she was born in 2009. I quit my job April of 2016. So I've had, a long history of working and being an entrepreneur on the side. So the security was important to me. I've always tried to keep my expenses as low as possible. And I have the support of her dad, who I've created a really great relationship with. And that's always been something that, even if we didn't see eye to eye on a specific issue, I always tried to keep the relationship, the priority, as opposed to any specific challenges or differences. So that's been really empowering in sharing that support. But also, I've created a lot of different systems that support me with her. And, a couple tips that I can offer, if I may, is the first thing that I found helpful is obviously having a clear bedtime and making sure that there's time for work after they go to bed. I know that that's one of your genius time, zones, Holly, is to work after the kids go to bed.
Oh, for sure. Like, I am such a late nighter, but my kids go to bed like at 7:00, and I allow buffer time because it doesn't always go as planned. I have a 2 and 4-year-old. So I'll take my first call at 8:00 at night. If I have clients who are working a 9-to-5 job, I'll do an 8:00 call for them.
Right. That's really that's really a great strategy. So at first I used to like let bedtime kind of run all over the place, and then it would be like 10:00, and by that time it's really too late for me. I have to get started, around 8 or 9:00, and then I have a couple good hours. But so that's one thing, is really that bedtime. And then the second thing is, whenever I would feel the guilt about, for example, we used to have workshops that were on the weekends, and sometimes I would have my daughter that weekend, and I was, spending the one day that I had like fully available to spend with her, I would, be working something. And what I came to realize that was 2 things. One, it was about quality time over quantity. So if you give a kid like 30 minutes of really genuine focused attention where nothing else is happening. You're not washing dishes or trying to make dinner. You're just giving them 30 minutes of playtime. That can be plenty. And then they're running off to do their own thing. You know, they really don't need you as much as you might think they do from a playtime perspective.
Right.
Is whenever I wanted to go and do something or needed to for the business, I would always make sure to create a great experience for them. So I would set up a play date, or I would get a really cool babysitter that they really liked that would, you know, do different things with them, not just sit on their phone. Or, you know, I would bring them to a play area where you could actually bring your kid and, you know, have them be playing with like a whole group of other kids on that day. So I think those two things really help kind of trim the mom guilt.
That is such good advice, because like you said, it's all about that quality of time, because you're like, okay, I'm spending the whole day with my kid, but I'm like 2% there. I'm in the shower and waving hi to them, and then I'm washing dishes and they're doing their own thing. Like, I think that's really, really, really important for people to realize that, you know, if you just take a little bit of time and spend it in a quality manner, that goes so much further, and then you don't feel as guilty and when you're doing your own thing, because in the end, your daughter is probably a huge inspiration in what you do. So you're doing it for her too.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is moms kind of think it's an either or, like what's best for them or what's best for me. And I've always had the belief that it's what's best for me is best for her.
Yeah.
So if I'm bettering myself, or if I'm doing a personal development workshop, or if I'm doing a business transaction or something on the weekend, I feel like that is best for her because I'm always bettering myself. So I think that that's a powerful perspective to have, as long as you're self-aware enough to know when you're giving them the attention that they really require, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Happy mom, happy life, right?
Exactly.
So quitting your corporate job wasn't like this like easy thing.
No, I agonized about it so much for so long.
I can imagine. And there's so many women right now who are in that same spot, who are watching this and who are like, I have this cushy job. They like me. I'm doing, okay there, like financially. It's comfortable. It's routine. And sometimes as just people, we get in the habit, and change is just scary. So like, tell us just a little bit more about that journey and you just finally saying, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. It was a long, long journey. So I mean, I've always, I wrote an article about this a while ago. Basically, I think it was 2011, somewhere in that time frame, where I read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and my mind was like, like I realized so many things in such a short period of time, and I saw like so much potential that when I was talking about the A, like this is the new, A grade that you can get, like the best life you could have would be creating something you're passionate about, drop shipping it so you have no inventory, and working 4 hours a week. That was like the gold standard. So I immediately began trying to figure out how I was going to create that for myself. And ever since then, it's been kind of a roller coaster of entrepreneurship. Like, I wouldn't consider myself an entrepreneur in the sense that I love taking risks and I just want to create something that's all my own. And I'm really a big team player. I'm a manager, kind of an archetype, where I love like detail and I love project plans and I love putting something together. But what I saw with entrepreneurship is that I have a lot better, a lot more flexibility, a lot better lifestyle. I am creating something original and unique, which I love, and the sky's the limit. Like I played the corporate game really well. I was like the, straight edge corporate person, the meetings, the minutes and everything. And what I realized was you're working 60, 70 hours a week, and you're kind of hoping in a sense for that $5,000 raise at the end of the year, when Holly, you and I know that we can write our own paychecks. When, when you've invested the time, you can write your own paycheck eventually. So I felt at the same time I felt really excited. I also felt a lot of like shame that I wasn't successful yet. And my definition for success is always expanding. So I found myself in this constant position where I thought I wasn't successful when really every day I was having successes. So the measurement for a long time of success was, did I quit my job yet? And I really tortured myself for a long time around that concept, even though I was always shifting into new areas and expanding, learning new things, creating new products. I was still ever so slightly in the back of my mind beating myself up that I hadn't yet quit, you know? So really when it came down to it, what I did was I got to the point where for 1 year I was working in the morning, then rushing to work 9 to 5. I would have a really quick period of like dinner, hi to the family, and then I would be back on my laptop working until I couldn't stay awake anymore. And then I would do it the same day again. And eventually it got to the point where, you know, I had replaced most of my income. I was a manager at an engineering firm, so it was a pretty high paying salary, but I had replaced most of it enough so that I was, covering my expenses. And at that point I quit. Like I told my boss that I was quitting. And then I actually went back on it because I felt so much fear come up of like exactly what you were saying. This is safety. You know, even though I had replaced my income for a couple months, is it going to continue? What if something happens? I don't really have that much savings. So all of this, like, fear basically of just really the fear is just totally being self-responsible, totally supporting myself. So I told my boss, never mind. I'm actually going to stay. And you know what? I can't wait to stay. Like, I'm going to actually throw myself back into this job 2 times as hard, which I tried. But then a couple months later, I was still in that, I want to quit. Like, I want to do my own thing. So then I went back again and I said, okay, this time I'm really leaving. And I did. And April 12th, 2016, I took I packed at my desk. Like, I gave 2 weeks, of course. Then I came in that day, packed at my desk, and just gave everybody a hug and drove right to the beach. And then I grabbed I live in Fort Lauderdale, so I just grabbed a beer from this little tiki hut on the beach and walked down to the edge of the water and just sat down and was like, okay, this is it. Like, this is going to happen now. And there's a sense of like that decision point of like, no, this really is going to happen. There's no turning back. It's a do whatever it takes kind of mentality. Whereas before I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out, even as I was creating successes with my business, there was always that little thing in the back of my mind. Well, if it doesn't work, I've got plan B. And I think your real power comes from when you just say, no, it's plan A or plan A,
That's exactly a lot to do with my story. And I think it's why we're both successful, why we both made it happen. Is I called myself a freight train. I said, I'm doing, you either hop on and you're with me and you're supporting me, or you get out of my way.
Right.
And it's just that decision point where you're just like, that's it. This is what I'm doing. Nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to deter me. And if you try, I'm staying on track.
Right.
And there's been so many people in my life, online, offline, who have tried to derail my train.
Yeah.
So many. And you and I have never talked about this, but do you have any like train derailment stories that somebody who told you you couldn't do it, you're not good enough to do it, you shouldn't?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say like a lot of my derailment's been up here, and it's been around, I spent a lot of time and effort cultivating that professional team, that professional group of colleagues. And a lot of what they value is it comes more from a larger business perspective, if that makes sense. Like, I worked for $80 billion medical device companies. So what people think is important is whatever they think is important. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in my mind, I had also made that very important. So when I would, with my biggest derailments is like, other people won't think what I'm doing is important. You know, like my parents, my colleagues that I know, all my friends that are still working in corporate, a lot of those fears. And I project on them that that's what they think. But when I actually sit down and talk to them and like, hey, I just really, you know, I have this story in my head that you don't think what I'm doing is important or that you're not supportive of me. I've never gotten anything but, oh my gosh, there's nothing more than I want for you than just to be happy. So that's been what I've experienced most of, is like fear that other people won't think X, Y, Z is important, whatever project I might be working on.
And a lot of it is, like you said, that self-reflection, like what fears do they really have about themselves that they're just putting onto you?
Right. Yeah. And there's been a lot of fear about the safety and the security, and are you investing in your retirement? Do you have health care, health insurance, and stuff like that? And I want to make another point about what we were talking about before, which is just saying I'm deciding isn't deciding. Like you're not ready to decide until you're ready, and you'll feel when you're ready. So based on what I said, I don't want anyone to think like, oh, I'm declaring that I'm deciding to quit my job today. It's more of you get to a point where you realize that you're ready, you know?
For me, it was really giving myself permission.
Right.
It was like, yes, I can do this. I will do this. Like, Holly, you have permission to be you and just go.
Yeah.
And I think like once you just like allow that to happen and don't get caught up in all the negativity. And I mean, let's be real. We can all spend hours scrolling through our Facebook feed if we wanted to.
Right.
Like there's so many distractions when we're going to
resolutions for 2017, by the way.
Oh my God, social media suck. You know? So it's like we can all make 1,000 excuses why we didn't get what we wanted to do done.
Right.
But it's like if you're truly giving yourself permission to ignore all the negative stuff that goes on, all like the distractions, and you're really just focusing on your one goal to inspire, impact, and then equally make an income, then I feel then you've got it. You're on the path.
Yeah, and what you said was so true. You know, just focusing on the impact you're making. That's what people are going to feel, is that you care about them.
Right.
You want success for them. You know, so that's really, really important.
Absolutely. So we talked about all different types of things today. We talked about being a mom, and we talked about leaving your corporate job and fears and self-doubts and limiting beliefs and all the stuff in between and Facebook distractions. But what's one thing that you want the Sparkly Truth Project viewers and listeners to really take away from our time together?
I want them to take away that, you know, you create your reality. You really decide what happens and how you react to it. And you can do it. You can do anything that you want to do, you know, and it's just allowing yourself the time to develop it into something that can support you, you know, and not beating yourself up along the way. The more you can be your own cheerleader and your own support system,
yes,
the more you can be successful faster. If you're beating yourself up and hating that you're here and you want to be there, it's just going to slow you down. So as much as you can, just try to be your own support system and really pat yourself on the back every day. Recognize what you did great that day and take that into the next day so you can create momentum in your mind, you know, really momentum in creating what you want and believing more and more every day that you can create it, because you definitely can.
Yes, I love it. Music to my ears, girl. So I know everyone wants to check out that pretty Instagram you have that we were chatting it up about. So let them know where they can find you on Instagram and then anywhere else you want to send them to.
Yeah. So if you're interested in, you know, learning to market yourself on Instagram, you can definitely follow us at Social Brand School on Instagram. And then if you want a free 1-hour training on how to turn your followers into buyers, you can go to bit.ly/DCC method webinar.
Love, love, love it. Well, Julie, thank you so much for being raw and real and just sparkly inspiration with me today. I'm so excited to have you part of this series and just so excited for everyone to get to know you.
Thank you, Holly. I've never heard of anyone wanting to speak the truth, really the behind the scenes of it all. So I really think it's brave and bold of you to create this project, and I appreciate being a part of it.
Yes, I'm just so beyond lit up about this project and just sharing the truth. And whether it's within myself, my business, and all the amazing entrepreneurs I'm able to connect with, I think that women need to know wherever they are in their journey, no matter if they feel like I'm at rock bottom, I can't do this, that you can overcome anything that you want to.
Yeah, so true.
Well, it was so nice again chatting with you. I will talk to you soon.
Holly, thanks for having me.
Of course. Bye-bye.
Bye.